Going up against Map 5 to VP, beating last stage's regional third place in the Ultimates, Quick Esports are on a path to proving themselves in OWCS. And tonight I get to sit down again with one of the players and get to know them a little bit more. Today we have one of the tank players, skytorr. Welcome, first of all. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. Hello, Gio. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here. We're gonna have a great talk, and yeah, I'm doing good, doing great. We're just having a good time at Creek right now. Good results, good screams, atmosphere. Everyone's feeling great. So yeah, really happy to be
I,
here.
I certainly got that energy talking to Willis last week, and anyone I talked to in Quick, the energy's high at the moment. That's for sure. I saw you streaming earlier. How did the games go?
I mean, it went well, really well until the end. My last game wasn't as great. It was one game of champ, so I'm a bit sad. I could have gotten it, but it's just I'll get it eventually. It's no biggie. I still had great games.
That's good. That's good. Are you still living in Belgium at the moment?
Yes. I live in Belgium. I won't say the name of the city because it's a bit complicated, but yeah, I live in Belgium and I commute every week between my parents' place where I'm at right now and my flat where I'm staying with some of my friends for my studies. So yeah, I still live in Belgium.
Right. Okay. Are you still where? So you're like a commute away from where is it you grew up? Where your parents are?
So yeah, exactly. Right now, I'm at my parents' house, where I'll be staying for honestly the next few months. Because the only reason I'll be going back to uni is to pass my only exam. So I got a lot of work to do in the meantime, but no moving. Right now, I have my setup fully moved. Both of my monitors, my mic, etc. All has been moved. But yeah, usually every Friday and every Sunday I have to move all of my stuff anyway to be able to play Overwatch, to scream, to play rank, to stream, etc. I have to do that every week. So now for the next few months, at least, I won't have to do that.
Okay. Okay. And in terms of the setup, I see behind you there. You've got an array of jerseys there.
Yeah.
Talk us through a little bit what's behind you there.
Okay, so I'll just start with the first one. Obviously, I have the quick jersey right here. Hope everyone can
Yep.
see it. Obviously, for the quick chat, that's an obvious one. It's actually the first time I think I get to wear the quick jersey for an occasion, and all of the jerseys behind me. Well, I have all my jerseys that I've worn during my so-called career. I think my first one. I'll talk about my first one last. But for
Yeah.
example, you have the Frostel jersey, which I've worn for the A4 finals last year. There is the good guy jersey, so that's the jersey for the French org I'm playing for this year for the French championship. And then you have, I don't know if you can see, maybe if I go back a bit more, you have a Gaming Gladiators jersey that Johan gave me, so that's a Johan jersey. And
Yeah.
on the far right is the Celtas jersey that I also really like, that my friends made. On the other side, you can't really see them, but there also is the Hypnos and Exo jersey from back in the, well, Hypnos and Exo days. And my
Yeah.
favorite one is probably the one in the middle. It's the Shilko jersey. It's my first one that I've gotten, and well, I've worn it a few times, but how should I say? Well, after a few months, the team wasn't really a thing anymore, so I decided
Right.
to change it from something I wear to something I set up on my wall because I have a bunch of signatures. You can't really see it, but I have like one face is completely full of signatures from people from the UK lands, French lands, from Stockholm. I got lots of the top players, friends, and so yeah, that's probably my favorite one.
Yeah, yeah. So that was the first in a line of. It's essentially kind of like a history book of, like you say, your
Yeah,
career. It's kind of almost like a timeline. So, is that what it means to you? It's like a visual representation of your time playing Overwatch.
yeah, clearly. I remember, I think, I don't know, it was multiple years ago, but I was watching Funny Astro stream, and in the background, we could see he had a shelf, or not a shelf, but like something where he just put all of his jerseys in a row, and it just looked really cool. And I was like, yeah, when I get multiple jerseys, I want to do something kind of similar. Obviously, I don't always do it like that, otherwise, I won't be able to access my wardrobe. But
Right.
but yeah, honestly. every time I get a new jersey, I'm happy because it's another souvenir, it's another thing that I will keep for the rest of my life, that to make me remember what I used to do. And I mean, for now, I'm not done, so I'm hoping to get more of them.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, I'm not a player, but I've got an EXO jersey
See,
somewhere. I know I've got a quick jersey on the way as well, so I'll start my collection. Not as a player, but as just someone who covers the games of the teams. So is this your childhood bedroom then that you're in at the moment?
yes, it is. It is. It's okay. It's not it's a bit tidy, so I think that's decent.
Okay.
But yeah, it's my small room in which I spend all my childhood. And where I've learned to play Overwatch, where I change multiple time computers,
Yeah.
and yeah. Honestly, it's pretty chill.
That's good. As a kid growing up, were you always into games or were you sporty beforehand?
Well, both actually. I played football a bit. I wasn't
All
great, or
right.
at least my club wasn't. So I mean, it didn't work out because I mean, I wanted. I've always want. I'm always. I've always been someone very competitive, right? So when I
Mhm.
couldn't make football work, I kind of turned it to video games, and I've always been a bit try hard. I've tried to play Hearthstone when I was younger, way younger, when I was maybe 12 or 13. I tried to be good
Mhm.
at the game. I wasn't too bad, and then when I got my first computer, I tried to play. What did I try to play? I can't even remember, but I played a few games, and before Overwatch, I played Paladins. I mean,
Oh
just
yes,
obviously like
yes, yeah.
lots of Overwatch players, they played Paladins at the start because they didn't
Mhm.
have the money to buy the game, and after a year or something, I got Overwatch for Christmas or something, and I just stayed on the game because, well, I mean, the game is just way better.
Yeah.
And how should I say, like, from playing the game over and over, I got better and got better. I joined a few
Mhm.
teams, lower teams, we grinded together, we split up, I found a better team, and so on until until now, really.
Nice. So Overwatch was a Christmas present for you after playing Paladins, and from there, I mean, what a Christmas present because you've created a career out of it. You've done more than just play the game. So I'd say that as Christmas presents go, that's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
At the moment, do you still get to play any other games other than Overwatch, or are you just really busy with Overwatch at the moment?
Well, at the moment, like right now, no, I don't have time to play any other games really. I'm fully focused on Overwatch, my exams, and my friends. These are the things I spend the most time in, and I want to really not have any regrets. So
Hmm.
considering I have just a bit of free time, I try to spend it with my friends and not play another game solo, which I still would really like.
Hmm.
I used to play. I love RPGs. I've played a bunch of them. I've
Yeah,
played Skyrim. I've played Oblivion, not the remaster. No, the original one.
the original. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. I played Endor, which is a spin-off of Skyrim, which is also great.
Hmm.
And now I really, really want to try the new, the French game called Clair Obscur, which I think looks amazing.
Oh yeah,
I,
that's gotten a lot of good press. Yeah.
but yeah, I cannot allow myself because I know I'll just spend too much time there and not enough time playing Overwatch. So
Aye.
I'm fully committing myself until at least June, when or like the holidays, where I will have more free time and where
Hmm.
actually I can spend that time playing other games and chilling a bit.
Absolutely. Obviously, like this is obviously going to take a lot of time. Also studying and still socializing. It's a lot to juggle. So of course, not getting a lot to play. But looking back then at a little bit of the history, 5 years ago, Open Division 2020, uh,
Ooh,
a very long time ago now, right? five
I
years.
remember.
When you look back at the journey you've had during that Open Division to now, what are what are like the standout moments or the downfalls that like come to mind?
Well, okay, that is a really good question. I mean, how do I start? Well, the starting point of it all was in 2020, as you said, Open Division 2020. I can't remember the season exactly, but it was during COVID. That I remember very clearly.
Yeah.
We were all under lockdown, and Open Division was happening, and that was a pretty good timing for us. not for everyone else, obviously, but we had all the time in the world to play Overwatch. And so with Top Toxicity, which was the name of my team at the time, we managed to get contenders trials. Some of my former teammates, you know well, like Horrocks, who is really known. Who else is still known today? Maimon, obviously, is extremely known. I used to play with him at that time. And obviously, Johan, who I still play with today, which is quite
Yeah.
amazing. So that was the first huge win that we got as a team. We didn't do that well in contenders trials, and to make it short, well, after that open division we split up. I couldn't find a new team. I tried to qualify again with another. That didn't work out, and in early 2021 I actually retired. So
Oh, really?
yeah, because I didn't have the time anymore to play the game. I wanted to focus more on IRL stuff. So I just stopped the game for a year and a half. And then I had an opportunity that I couldn't let pass. It was the Overwatch World Cup.
Oh,
I've always wanted to play World Cup. So I had the opportunity to represent my country. I took it I can't remember the year, I think it was 2023, the last World Cup. But yeah, I did my best, absolute best. And from that point on, we did pretty decent. I think we ended fifth in our group or fourth. I can't know, fifth, which was still pretty good, beating the Netherlands, Portugal, Italy. Pretty decent results overall. And then after that, it was just a matter of finding a new team, with which I won a dive party. It was like a tier 3 tournament at the time.
yeah.
And there I got onto Shield Code, which was probably, how should I say, the biggest jump in terms of level that I had the opportunity to join. So joining
Yeah.
Shield
I
Code,
remember that was the first time I kind of saw you get to play. I remember that.
yeah, exactly. So joining Shield Code was a great team, and it's kind of the same vibes as Top Toxicity, with great players that will eventually get on great teams. Maimon at the time, now it's Xodial, he's on Genji. Uh, and so, yeah, another high with this team was getting into OWCS stage 1. And then after that, it was some ups and downs, with the biggest up. I can maybe highlight two things. The first one being the French A4 LAN, so the French tournament, where me and my team ended second. That was a pretty big upset, considering we beat Peps at the time. And then after that, the biggest one I've had was in OWCS Stage 3 last year with Hypnos, where we ended top 5. We finished top 5, top 5, top 6. And we even
Yeah.
took a map of SSG, which was unbelievable for us. And after that, it's been some ups and downs, with obviously the biggest ups being now with Quick winning Faceit, winning
Yeah.
relegation, performing so far well in OWCS. And yeah, I think that sums it
Definitely.
up.
So, yeah, that's a kind of good history of your career. So that break you took, I'm curious about this. So playing for your country, playing for Belgium, so did that feel different then to just playing for an org? Did that mean more to you then?
Oh yeah, completely. I felt like it was, I don't know, it was higher than just playing for a team, considering that it was the comeback of World Cup, that we could maybe get into BlizzCon, that so many people were watching too. It was the biggest competition I've ever played in, and still now, like, the amount of people watching Overwatch World Cup was really, really high. So that was great. We had a great time playing, training, and performing. So that was a unique experience, for sure.
Yeah, well, it must have been enough to bring you out of the retirement, and then obviously since then
Yes.
you've continued playing. So I imagine it kind of maybe reinvigorated something in you, at least to a certain degree. I mean, looking even further back, I love kind of asking this question. Do you remember your first ever scrim in Overwatch?
I I don't think I do, but I remember. Well, it was with a pretty low team that I remember for sure. I used to play with a plat team
Uh huh.
in my early
Oh
days,
wow.
and we what we did mostly was we played ranked. We 5 stack in 6 stacks, actually, 6 stack in
Uh huh.
ranked, and we climbed the ranked ladder, and And at some point, I remember someone asking for a scrim. That I can remember happening, but I can't remember the first one. I remember, if there's one thing I can remember from my early stages of screaming, is you know Stadios, the French he's a French
Oh
streamer
yeah, yeah,
now.
yes,
Used
yes,
to
yeah.
be. Right. Well, at the time when I was plat, he was plat too, and we were screaming partners. We were screaming
Oh
each other,
really?
and so we both made it, which is amazing to think of, really.
Yeah, that's amazing to know that you actually started like in plat. You know, you actually were you playing tank back then? Were you playing different roles? What was the
I
situation?
was I was already playing tank, but I was an off tank initially, very
Okay.
initially. But then during a summer break or something, my main tank had to leave, so I had to take
Hmm.
on the main tank role, and then I kind of just kept it going from there.
Hmm. What was it that motivated you to kind of start playing competitively? That was it just enjoyment of the game? Was there an inspiration? What was the motivation?
Mm, enjoyment of the game mostly. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
is what motivated me to compete. I just liked it. Climbing. I wanted to be good and see what could come out of it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so far, at least, it was 100% worth it, and I want to keep it going really. So enjoyment of the game and knowing what could happen if I kept playing, if I kept grinding. Well, I mean, yeah. Especially looking at the Overwatch League at that time, we knew that esports. I mean, I knew at least that esports was already kind of a big thing, that it was on the rise, and it was kind
Yeah.
of an investment, if you could view it. That's like long-term thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, Overwatch League wasn't that great, but
Yeah.
but yeah, still,
Yeah, in hindsight, obviously it didn't end too great, but we're on the comeback slowly but surely.
yeah, sure.
Uh, and obviously, I've noticed you're streaming as well alongside things. Is that another avenue that you see as like an investment? Do you see yourself also being a streamer alongside the other things you're doing?
Um, yes. Well, I've always streaming does many things for me. It helps
Hmm.
me. It forces me to play the game. It's kind of stupid, I know, but when you have people watching, it's always more motivating to know that you aren't alone in your solo queue. To have people to talk
Hmm.
to. It's a way for me to develop myself as a player and as maybe not a brand, but like to market myself, to make people, to
Yeah.
let people know that I'm playing the game, that I'm grinding.
Hmm.
And yes, I'm trying my best to develop myself. I'm trying to buy new equipment to improve myself as a player and as a streamer. I got a new mic
Hmm.
just right in front of me. Planning on buying a camera. There are a lot of things I want to do to improve my stream, and I think that I have potential in the way that I speak both French and English. This is not what many people can do. The French community is big, and so is the European community. So in that way, I
Hmm.
think I can appeal to both, which I will try to keep working on. Right. I've already
Yeah.
streamed a bit over the past 4 5 months, which is actually crazy to think about, and I'll keep working, keep streaming on a daily basis, co-streaming, WCS Korea, for example, which I like to do.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'll keep working on that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's good to like get your name out there, right? Recognition
Yeah,
is also part of the game. People knowing you're playing the game, know you're on the grind, and at least just knowing the name, so that when they look you up,
yeah.
they can kind of see your accomplishments and stuff. Uh, Obviously, esports streaming. These are risky ventures for anyone to try and get into.
Yeah.
You've mentioned your studies. What else is it you've got going on at the moment in your life?
Well, what I've always, I mean, this is like not a contract, but like something I've always agreed with my parents, is that
Hmm.
I can do whatever I want in life, but they were always like, you can do whatever you want, but get a degree first, which I
Hmm.
wholeheartedly agree with. So that's what I'm doing. My studies in parallel. I'm lucky enough that how should I say, the studies in Belgium are kind of give you a lot of freedom, right?
Okay.
You don't have to go. At least in my studies, you don't have to go to most lessons, which
Hmm.
makes it that I just don't go, and I work more at another point, right? which makes it
Yeah.
so that I don't really have an off day. But that's fine. This is no biggie. And yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm working on my studies. I'm currently in Master One, finishing next year, hopefully.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, when I get the degree, then I'll have a choice whether I keep going, whether there's something worth it to chase, right? Or if I
Hmm.
just go back to having a quote unquote normal life and just
Yeah.
playing, I mean, finding a work, buying a house, etc. Just normal stuff. But right now, I have
Yeah.
this opportunity of playing Overwatch, being good at the game, streaming, doing some coaching on the side, and I don't wanna let this opportunity slip past me.
Exactly, yeah, and it is a good opportunity. But you were very right in having at least a backup plan. Invest in this opportunity, but also have other avenues you can go. So kind of like not putting your eggs in all one basket, as they
Yeah,
say.
exactly. Yeah.
What is it you're studying?
I'm studying. It's called business engineering. It's a
Okay.
very unique study. I mean, it's not. You don't see it in other countries. It's a very general study that teaches you
Hmm.
management mostly. It's mostly management, but then you can study
Hmm.
economics, finance. I personally am specialized in finance.
Yeah.
Uh, you can study change supply. You can study marketing. There's a bunch of
Hmm.
things you can do, and at the end, the degree is pretty decent because it gives you the opportunity to do many jobs.
Yeah.
The how's it called, the companies value it in Belgium.
Hmm.
So that's a good degree. I also am lucky enough to speak Dutch kind of fluently. And in Belgium, and especially with my degree, this is something that's really, really important uh, if I want to find a job. Otherwise, I would be limiting myself to only, well, half of the country, which is a bit complicated.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is a very good degree because obviously every business needs people that understand how business is run. So, you give yourself a lot of opportunities in that way, and it
Yeah,
sounds like you have a good mind for opportunities and ways to try and like enhance yourself to really make those opportunities shine bright, which is definitely a good thing.
yeah,
It's especially when you're at your studying stage, kind of figuring out where you're going. The two of us, we've been to the same LAN twice, Epic
yes.
LAN.
Epic, yeah,
Um,
obviously.
yeah, in the UK. Unfortunately, it doesn't do Overwatch anymore, but it was fun while it lasted. One you played for Grill Masters, which was mostly the sheer cold roster, and one for Ex Oblivione. How many LAN events have you been to? Because you've also been to ones
A lot
like the
now.
good LAN as well, right?
Yes, yes, I've been to a few lands now for the past 2 years. If you asked me this question, like in January of last year, I would have told you one, because at
Right.
that time I've had only been to one in Paris.
Hmm.
But then from that point on, I've been to, let me count. So there is the first land in Paris, then there is the Epic land,
Uh-huh.
Insomnia, AFO, Epic again. So I'm at five, and then you have how's it called? Good land, Esports,
Hmm.
and then another land. So that's eight total, and I'm going another one at the end of this week.
Well,
So that
this
would
is
make
all in
it
the last year
nine.
as well.
Yes, yes, all of that in 2 years. And I'm going at another one in the end of June. So right now I'm at eight, and I will soon be going at 10 lands, because lands are just amazing, honestly. It's
Yeah,
so good.
that's a bit. I mean, what is it? How different is it playing in person? Side by side with the people you're competing with and in your team compared to like playing from home.
There are so many things that are just so good about lands. I don't know where to start. Well, playing next to your friends and teammates, I mean, personally, I just love it, because I mean, it's just so much more. What's the word I could use? So it's like you just feel closer to your teammates, but also it's
Hmm.
an opportunity to see actually your friends from all over Europe at an
Yeah.
event and spend some time with them. It's not often that you see your friend from Denmark, that you see your friend from, I don't know, from Sweden, or like
Hmm.
that I even see the people from the UK. Like I haven't been to, well, Insomnia or Epic this year, because Epic doesn't do Overwatch anymore. Insomnia, well, rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Rest in
Uh,
peace.
so I've not gotten to see, well, all of my friends that I've met there.
Hmm.
Uh, this is one of my biggest thing with Lance, is meeting people. and getting to see the people I've known on the internet. Really,
Mm-hmm.
the peak of it was A4 last year. I've been talking a lot about A4, but it's because it's like the LAN in France that you have to go to. All the French personalities, influencers, top players are going there. So this was a great opportunity. And the other one was obviously Stockholm.
Yeah.
Stockholm was amazing. I also went there, but that doesn't really count as a LAN that I've played in. But like the
Mm-hmm.
event, just seeing the entirety of the EU scene, everyone was
Mm-hmm.
there. It was just amazing. And then the last thing that's also great about going to LANs is going on and play on stage. Playing on stage is the best thing in the world, just
Mm-hmm.
with all the people cheering for you in front of you, the lights, the emotions, the sound, it all feels 10 times stronger, 10 times better. And it
Mm-hmm.
will feel even better when I get a dub in the final, because I've told you I've been to 8 lands. I have not won a
Yeah.
single one of them.
Oh no.
So this is kind of a joke now.
Eventually,
Happens
one of these
eventually.
lands, you will get the win. Being on those stages obviously will be a very different environment, but if you do end up on stage in OWCS, let's say best case scenario, do you think that LAN experience has helped you prepare for that eventuality?
Yes, 100%, 100%. There, it 100% helps with dealing with the
Mm-hmm.
pressure of being on land, of having people watching you right in front of you, cheering for you, cheering for the enemy team too. That helps a
Mm-hmm.
lot. Um, it also helps, getting used to playing on a stage, like actually being not in your own environment, with I don't know, lights everywhere, with not everything being right, because in the comfort of home you have, the sounds is well checked, your mic is perfect, everything is good. But at LAN it's
Yeah.
not always the case. There's always still a bit of pressure, but that's independent of the LAN really. When you play a big event,
Mm-hmm.
personally, when I get into a match, at the very start I'm always a bit stressed, not too much, but just it's good pressure. It's just to get me in, and then
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, any match will have an amount of pressure, but obviously you were there too. You sit in the audience and you're watching like the lead up to the finals, and they've got the big orchestra playing. And you imagine
Oh
being a
yeah,
player behind the scenes. Obviously, a lot of those players have experience, but you're sitting there. There's an orchestra playing. People are like cheering. I imagine the amount of pressure you feel could be so high, but at the end of the day, yeah,
yeah,
you got to be professional. Um,
exactly. Yeah.
you were on Ex Oblivione for what was it, 6 months?
Oh,
And
I
when
guess yeah.
I met everyone at Epic, it seemed like everyone was quite close with each other. How did it feel? Because this was right before Quick. How did it feel when that team disbanded?
Bad, but expected, I think, is what you could say.
Mm-hmm.
We had a very high with, I mean, Hypnos then leading into EXO. That's kind of the same team, the same core. It was me,
Yeah.
SXJ, Captain Prash, and then you had Zoro, Kikyo, and then MCD and Tekuno.
Mm-hmm.
That changed. So, we had a very high with finishing top 5, top 6. And then in the stage after, we barely didn't make it. We lost 2-3 to a SRP check.
Mm-hmm.
So that felt bad. That was the first sign of us slacking a bit. And then Faceit League didn't go as well too. Faceit League we finished I think top 5, top 6 again, which isn't
Mm-hmm.
bad but isn't good either. And so after this tough loss, we tried to go at it one last time, one last run. But as soon as we didn't qualify for the WCS, we kind of knew we were done. Some people were leaving on their own, and
Mm-hmm.
then I was kind of left with a few other teammates,
Yeah.
and yeah, I decided to. I mean, I had the opportunity to join Quick, which I'm still
Yeah.
very thankful that I've gotten this opportunity already.
Mm-hmm. So like between like EXO ending and you joining Quick, so did you have enough time to kind of find that other opportunity?
No, no. What happened? I'll say it very shortly, is that the EXO team exploded. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like 2 days before the master qualifiers. So I had two options at that point. It was either to take a break or join a team as a sub, which is what
Mm-hmm.
I've done. with Quick, and I don't regret that decision at all. Like
Yeah.
absolutely not. That was a great decision because I still was able to join the scream, sometimes get a bit of playtime, and watch and learn. Still, that's something I'm pretty decent at, considering I've been like second tank for like a few teams now. With Shirkle, I've been like that. With another team, I've been like that. I can't remember, but I'm used to being in this position,
Yeah.
and uh, and yeah, honestly, it was a great decision that I made. It allowed me to focus more on myself too. It allowed me to focus more on streaming, on getting better on my own, on improving. So that was a great thing that happened, and yeah, I yeah.
Yeah, that's good. You mentioned you're used to being in that position. Obviously, Willis at the moment is the tanking more of the playtime.
Yeah.
No need to leak any strats or anything, but are there plans to bring in a little bit more skytorr into the games or anything like that?
Maybe you will see. Maybe soon. I would rather not answer that. I think that's better
Okay, that.
for everyone. But in hindsight, it's hard to argue that you should put me in instead of Willis, considering how well the team has been performing. How
Yeah.
could you ask of a substitution being made other than for specific strategy or composition on a specific map, which is a bit harder because of hero bans, right? Because if I come in, then the enemy team will just ban my favorite pick, and then it's a bit cooked, right?
Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. Talking about one of your teammates, someone that you've been on teams with a lot. I see the name in the background as well in the jersey.
Yes.
I saw a tweet from you. You said that Johan was the team's silent carry, and your silent carry as well. Why did you tweet that? What's it like playing with someone for what's that now? Like 5 years.
Well, I've known him for 5 years, and I don't know. Johan is very unique in the sense that, well, all of the quick players are my friends, right? I love them all, but Johan is a bit special in the sense that I've known him for way longer. We also have big passives because we are both born on the same exact day, the exact birth date and the exact
Oh,
same
wow.
year. So this is something that kind of locked us both as friends, and I just love spending time with him. I hope he does too, otherwise that would be a bit awkward. But yeah, he's a great friend, he's a great teammate, he's a great player. There isn't many other flex support I would rather play with than him, and yeah, Johan is just a great friend of mine. That's why he's my silent carry, because he's always there supporting me, whatever happens. He's always there, spending time. We're just spending so much time together, having good laughs, and on top of that, he's a great player, so what more can you ask?
Yeah, to have someone who's like a good friend, but also to get to this level with, having promoted into OWCS, doing really well for a team that just promoted into it as well. It must feel really good, for sure. I get the vibe that there's a lot of good energy on the Quick team. Is it always as supportive as it seems?
I mean, right now it's reaching quote unquote all time highs considering our results, but we've always been a team that's very critic. I don't know if that's the right word. We are very critical of each other, and we because we have to, right? It's a competitive game. We have to be better than the other teams, and so we can't just go and say, yeah, everything is fine, everyone's playing great, we lost, but it's whatever. We have to tackle the problems, we have to face them on, and when it's done, but it's always done with the right intent. It's never done with the intent of hurting the other. It's always done with the intent of making the team better and make everyone improve, which is a great mentality that everyone really is familiar with and is doing. Nobody on the team is being toxic or has bad behavior, which is relatively, I think, rare right now in the Overwatch scene. I think it happens really often that in a team you always have one player or the other that's a bit more toxic, if you could say. But in our team, we are just I mean, I'm thinking of a single player. I don't think there's been a single time where someone has claimed like someone else on our team by pure, anger or
Yeah.
because they were mad. That just never happened.
Yeah, it always comes from a constructive standpoint
Yeah.
of looking to like make each other better and therefore like the team as a whole better. So to bounce off that, obviously Quick have just beaten the Ultimates 3-2. So is it right to saying that you don't just take that as a win? You're also looking at those two maps you dropped and thinking, how could we have won those maps as well?
Obviously, this is a big win. Let's not. I mean, yeah, this is just a big win. We are taking it and we are, enjoying it as much as possible. We are really happy of the way it was done too. We lost the first map. It's kind of whatever, but then the two other maps we won, Hollywood and Circuit, these were just pure dominations on our part.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a great showing from us. And the other two maps the other map we lost and the Runazapi we've already reviewed and talked about because we have to keep learning, keep learning, keep
Yeah.
learning, keep learning. Otherwise, the other teams will just catch up and be better than us. And as a rookie
Mm-hmm.
team and as a, what should I say, as a not the favorites going into the matches, we really have to put in more work, than the others. We might have French
Yeah.
Kevster, but we need a bit more work to be better than the actual Kevster that's been, at the top of Europe for, you know, as long as our French Kevster is alive, has been alive, honestly.
That is true. There are big names in OWCS that have been in this scene
Yeah,
for a while. They've been OWL. They have that experience.
yeah,
I'll be honest. I was watching the game against the Ultimates, and then it was like the last 2 minutes of Runasapi. I had to
yeah,
walk away, and in my mind I was like, okay, good effort from Quick, but Ultimates got them in the end. I come back and Quick had won. I was like, oh, okay.
yeah.
And I went back and I rewatched the last 2 minutes. I was like, oh, okay, damn,
Crazy
that's awesome.
clutch. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
amazing
crazy
clutches.
clutch. We had
Yeah.
we were somewhat lucky because we had a null rotation going in our favor and we got some good fights, and in the end the very last fight was so stressful. We missed timing. We wanted to do a play and we couldn't, and then we
Hmm.
somehow clutched it, deep on the pulse bomb. Zydra killed too. Willis stayed alive. Johan stayed alive for a long time too, and then we just bust up. Really, that was a hell of a clutch. And I mean, I didn't clip it, but I should have clipped what happened in VC because we were all screaming of happiness. This win was a deserved one and a hard fought one.
I can imagine so. I mean, obviously, you have to imagine other people who maybe didn't watch Face It Masters are thinking, okay, this team's just promoted. I'm not really going to put too much stock in them. And then you come in and almost beat VP and actually beat the Ultimates. I mean, obviously, it puts all of your names on the board for sure. What would you say in your mind then are the main things that separate like an okay team, like a team that like promotes into Overwatch CS and just kind of like coasts along and kind of does what you expect versus a team that actually delivers the good results?
I think it's about the amount of work that the team puts in and the overall mentality of the team. Because
Mm-hmm.
I think what can easily be said about the team is that each and every one of a player has the dog in them. They have this thing that drives them to do more work and hard locking on match days. Whereas other teams, Kevster, he just played another WCS game. He played so many Overwatch League games in his past. He's won majors. Maybe he was a bit more chill, but as young players, rookies, Deep is 18, Willis is 17, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Zydra is a bit older, but I don't think age matters that much anyway. What really matters is how involved you are, how committed you are, and if you have the dog in you too. I really think that's important.
Yes, I think having the dog in you is definitely important. Having that the will to succeed, like the energy, I suppose hunger in another way, the hunger to
Yeah.
succeed. Um, Obviously at the moment we've kind of talked about how like Willis is like kind of first tank, you're a bit of the second tank at the moment.
Yeah.
In those positions where there's only one tank role, two tank players, and either the meta or the strategy leaves you maybe like with a bit more gameplay. How does that affect you at all? Like how do you view that as a player?
Um, I don't know. It's a bit. It's a complicated question to answer because as a player, you always want to play, right? But you also want what's best for the team, right? If you think that both are the same thing, if that you think that you playing is better and that your team will be better, great. But right now, as I said earlier, right? Considering the results, how can I argue? Yeah, let's put me in. Clip Willis has not been performing. I would do better. It's really hard to argue with results. So as in this situation, you just have to take a step back, accept the situation, work on yourself and keep working. Keep working on yourself and also help the team, right? When we have scrims, most of the time I'm also there, trying to give PNR some ideas, some things that I've seen. And when I'm not doing that, I'm just looking at either the path of my teammates or the enemy team's path to learn from them as a player and also to get more knowledge about the game.
Yeah. So like even though you're on the bench or whatever, you're still like your mind's still in the game. You're still
Involved,
looking at the
yeah.
team. Yeah, it's still involved. That's good because you could very easily see a player maybe be on the bench and maybe kind of lock out a little bit, but it sounds like you're very much still like in it mentally, which is
Yeah,
good.
clearly.
For those who maybe haven't seen a lot of your gameplay, what are like the tanks in the game that specifically are like the skytorr tanks?
Monkey is the first one that comes to my mind. Winston is clearly
Yep.
my best pick right now. And then recently I've been playing a lot of Hazard has been one of my best. And then you have some of the classic brawl tanks such as Ram or Risa that I also play well, Marga too. These are the main heroes I play. I can also play some Queen if that's necessary, or some Sigma. These are some heroes I can play, but
Yeah.
that on which I won't really make that big of a difference in the WCS, right? If I'm playing, you'll see me on a Monkey, you'll see me on a Haz, you'll see me on a Ham or Orisa, but probably not on these heroes I'm a bit worse at, and certainly not on Diva. That is not happening. That is for sure. This hero, I don't want to see this hero. Even in my ranked games, it's always first ban for me is always a diva ban. That's a no-brainer. I hate that hero with my heart. There's a patch tonight. There's a patch in 18 minutes. I hope diva gets nerfed to the ground so much.
His venomous words against the main tank played by Willis as well.
Oh yeah. Well,
Talking about Winston, Willis was kind of saying last week that in his mind, if a team can get really, really good at a Winston dive, especially in this region of EU,
yeah.
then like they'll just be above the other teams. Where do you rank your Winston against the other top players in the EU region?
Well, all right. Two things. First, I want to say. Well, I agree with him that if a great monkey team faces a great diva team, the great monkey team should win. I think that's just how it should work. However, it's not been the case so far. Just Hee-sung is a Korean main tank that's really known for his Winston, and they haven't been able to make it work. So I'm not sure, and I don't know. Well, I've talked about it with some of my friends a few days ago, and I was looking at the tanks in EU, and 90% of them are off tanks. The only two monkey players I can see being better than me really is Iceland, because he's known for his Winston right now. He has been playing it on VP. He's been working really hard on it. And I guess Mag is probably better. This guy is pretty known. Oh, there's also Hee-sung. I forgot about him. Obviously, so you have Hee-sung, Mag, and Iceland that are probably the best monkey players in EU right now. But other than that, Vestola, Ziad, Tread. Also, imagine you won't see these guys on monkey anytime soon. And with all respect I have for them, because I think they're all great players, I think I'm a better monkey player.
Right. Okay. It kind of makes sense. That makes sense because some of these players are, a bit more known for the monkey at the moment, and obviously have a little bit more of the history. Well, as a kind of a final question, then to yourself, what should the wider Overwatch community, who might not know you so well, know about you? What is it about you that sets you apart from other players?
From other players, I would say it's probably my communication. and my ability to take criticism. I think maybe I'm exaggerating a bit on that, but I think I'm very open when people tell me stuff, as long as it's done in the right manner. And my communication is something I've been working on for so long. It's really something that I'm very communicative, right? It might not fit with every team. That's something I can understand, but I think the way I communicate and also the way I adapt to the way my teammates communicate, I think is pretty good.
Yeah.
These are the main things that set me apart from the others.
Yeah, communication is something that in all areas of life is extremely
Yeah.
important. So to have that skill, and talking to you today, I can definitely agree. You've really like you've brought us through the history of skytorr and given us a good idea of like who you are through like your answers and your historic background of all your jerseys
Yeah.
there. So yeah, it's been lovely chatting with you. Thank you for talking with me today. I wish you and the rest of the team great luck in the rest of WCS. I hope it continues to just get better and better. That will be us for tonight. Check us out next week. We'll have a chat with, I believe it's one of the DPS players. I forget exactly who it is. Do you know? Were you able to answer the
I
question?
don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I could see a dip coming in, but yeah. I mean, I also wanted to say thank you, Jill, for having me. Oh, it is dip.
Yeah, it's
I was
Dip, yeah.
Antares is saying Zydra, so I would believe more Mr. Antares in the chat. But but yeah, honestly, thank you for having me. No, I had a great time with you, and thank you for those who watched. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, that's us for tonight. So catch us next week for the next podcast, and of course, keep an eye on the socials and the co-stream, and if we're on mainstream for the OWCS games as well. So thank you for everyone that's watching, and don't forget to laugh loud and love yourself, folks. Good night.
Goodbye.